There are questions surrounding AstraZeneca's latest vaccine trial as the company works to get its COVID-19 shot approved for emergency use here in the U.S. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases said today that the results from AstraZeneca's trial might have included outdated information. But AstraZeneca says the data was based on a February 17th cutoff point and promises to submit up-to-date information to health officials within 48 hours. So for more on this, I want to bring in Dr. Dyan Hes. She is the founder of Gramercy Pediatrics. Thank you for joining us, Doctor.
Hi,
Dr. Hes, this, whenever we talk about these studies, we always try to make sure that people know that the studies are done by the pharmaceutical companies. So they have a vested interest in making sure that the results look good, but they also have a vested interest in doing, proper scientific work. So why would they have a cutoff date for this data, and what is the purpose of that?
Well, it's normal to have a cutoff date. We just don't know what was agreed upon and what they used. So, the comments that we are seeing in the news right now are very vague. It says that, they might have used outdated data. Now, the whole pandemic has only been a little bit over a year, so I don't know what outdated data means. I don't know if they enrolled people in the trial, but then maybe they didn't like how that data was looking, so they left that part out from the beginning, that they didn't include everybody until they figured out the kinks. It could be a million things. We could speculate. We really just need them to investigate and come forth and be transparent. And I think that's what everybody wants, is the transparency. And it's in AstraZeneca's best interest to come forward because they've been having already problems in the European market. There has been these speculations that AstraZeneca leads to increased blood clots, and then they said that was false. So now there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy in Europe, which is why we're seeing such a spike in those countries like Italy and Germany, and they're going on lockdown again. So I think we're doing the right thing. We're saying this doesn't add up to what we asked you to do for our certification to be in use as a vaccination in the United States. We want clarity.
So, Doctor, how could this affect the trial results and AstraZeneca's application for emergency use authorization?
Well, I think what will happen is probably a third party will have to come in and look at their data and see if it is valid. I know that I have two friends who are, one is a physician, one is my patient actually, who are in the AstraZeneca trial. And as a physician monitoring them, they have been, everything seems to have been kosher. It seems to be going well, but we don't know what's going behind closed doors. And we don't know if they're using all the data they collected or they changed their data collection process or the testing process. So we have a lot to learn.
A study published in JAMA Network Open found that kids who are 10 years old and younger have a stronger immune response against COVID-19 than other age groups. Do we know what it is about younger kids that makes them just more resistant to the virus?
Well, we just know that younger children have a more robust immune system. So that's why they're having mild symptoms, and then a very strong antibody response. I could tell you that my daughter, the only thing that happened to her from COVID is she tested positive. She didn't have anything. But when we checked her immunoglobulins last week, they're sky high, and she's 14. So we know that younger kids, first of all, they're exposed to multiple types of coronavirus throughout the year because that's the cause of the common cold in the U.S. So that probably makes them somewhat responsive to have an immune response. The second thing is we believe that recent immunizations, particularly with the MMR, the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, makes younger children have a stronger response to the infection and fight it off better.
So interesting. Doctor, a review of data from the first COVID-19 lockdown in the UK found that children with type 1 diabetes actually saw their blood sugar levels decrease while they were stuck at home, but it wasn't clear why that would happen. What could be at play here?
Oh, this is 100% because they're under their parents' supervision. So it is very hard for a type 1 diabetic when they go to school or they go to an after-school event or a friend's house to make healthy choices because they need to know how many grams of carbohydrates are in certain foods, which I have to tell you as a physician, it's really hard to figure out. So can you imagine if you're 11 and you have diabetes, So here you're home with mom and dad locked in a house for almost 12 months, and your mom and dad can supervise, or an adult can supervise what you're eating and what you're drinking. You're just going to have tighter glycemic control. And that's not surprising to me. But it just shows us that we have to do better for our children when they go out of the home and that they have to be empowered to be able to make those right decisions.
One more study to talk about. A new analysis published in the British Medical Journal found that pregnant women have an increased risk of severe COVID-19. So the study says that pre-existing conditions are contributing factors, suppose that's not a surprise, and that non-white pregnant women are more likely to be admitted to the ICU. Also something that we I guess, should not come as a complete surprise. But it also says that the risk for babies, very low. Given these findings, what would you say to pregnant women who are hesitant to get the vaccine?
Well, actually, there's another article that came out yesterday that says that there is increased preterm labor, increased ICU admissions, increased preeclampsia in mothers, pregnant women, and increased hypertension. So those are all leading factors to poorer outcomes for infants. Not to terminate a pregnancy, but things to be cautious about, right? So I would say, personally, if I were pregnant, I just literally did a prenatal yesterday, a prenatal visit, and I got asked this question. And they said, if you were pregnant, Dr. Hes, would you get the vaccine? And I said 100% hands down, I would get the vaccine if I was pregnant.
Fascinating. As always, Dr. Dyan Hes, we thank you for your insight and your analysis. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.